Explain like I'm 5. How is it that human doesn't remember anything from first several years of their life? We took our now 5 years old son for a trip to USA last fall. So he was 5 years old that time. We live in Europe. Next week I am traveling there again, so I spoke with him about me traveling to USA and he started asking me questions about places we were last year. Also, he was telling me many specific memories from that trip last year and was asking me about specific people we have met. That is not surprising. It was last year. But how is it possible that he will not remember anything from it 15 years from now if he remember it year after? I mean, he will not remember he was in USA at all. I would understand that kids and toddlers keep forgetting stuff and that's why they will never remember them as an adults. But if they remember things from year or more ago, why will they forget them as an adults? The hippocampus is not fully developed until about 5 years old. It's basically like having a computer with RAM but no actual hard drive. Young kids can remember things for a few months, but there's no long-term storage. What there is a schema for wiring up that hard drive once it arrives. And that will dictate how it operates. And is why your personality mostly coalesces around the age of 6. Memory is a very complex thing. It's not like a computer's hard drive. Memory is connections between ideas. In the years children are in school, we stuff their minds full of all sorts of ideas. This onrush of ideas causes reorganization of the ideas from before school. And some content is lost in that reorganization. Memory is not highly accurate, so content is lost all the time. But until that baseline of stuff everybody knows is loaded, memories are particularly susceptible to loss during reorganization. If you have a book that has just one page of text, you will likely remember quite well what happened in what part of that page. As you age, you gain massive amount of new experiences of all kinds. Suddenly you are sitting with a trilogy, with each book having 1,000 pages. And you are trying to remember what exactly happened on page 41 of the first one. What I read suggests that some research supports the idea that the development of language plays an important part in memory. I have one memory from when I was between 1-3 years old. I'm playing with a wheel loader toy on a tile table. That's it. I read that people with an eidetic memory who have trauma experience cannot forget that experience, and would take them a long time to overcome that. Forgetting things is another form of coping mechanism. I have my first memory from when I was 6 months old. It was a bit scary. I have several more memories from when I was 7 years old. I mean, I have sprinkles of memories, little bits and pieces around 2-3. But the beginning of my conscious life began around 3.54-ish. Kids can remember early. It depends on the person and their memory-based intelligence. I have memories from when I was 3, possibly younger, on my grandfather's farm. And they are clear, vivid memories that I can't even explain why I remember them. I also remember one of my aunts being around a lot when I was that age. My mom swears I shouldn't remember her since she died when I was 4. However, I couldn't tell you what I ate for breakfast yesterday without thinking about it for a second. Some people's memories are just different. How is it that I distinctly remember a trip to Disneyland when I was almost 2? I was in a crib standing up playing with my Mickey head-shaped balloon. I can remember being in my pushchair, being potty trained, being in a baby grow, my first day at school, and other very early memories. It varies. His brain decides what to keep. It's not that he won't remember. I remember my childhood house's interior that I left when I was 3. Have you watched Disney Pixar Inside Out? Most comments have already given good answers. But I'd like to add that they won't necessarily forget. I have memories from when I was 2-3. If it had a big enough impact on him, he may remember pieces of it into his adult life. Even though many early memories are overwritten or destroyed as our brains develop, some memories persist. Apparently, how children are raised and the culture has a big impact too. I'll have to see if I can find the study again. But one I read a few years ago indicated that on average Westerners tend to have memories from earlier in life than people in East Asia. He might remember it. I remember my second birthday party and the Halloween from that same year. Last time I googled children's memory, it said that until 9 they remember their early childhood. As soon as they hit double digits, so 10, their memory becomes adult-like and childhood amnesia sets in. So by 10 we forget the early stuff. Some people can, especially if it's traumatizing. I have memories from 3 years old even though I didn't gain consciousness until I was around 5. Because kids' memories from before the kids are 7 years old generally don't stick around for long. The way it was explained to me is toddlers don't understand the concept of plot, beginning, middle, end. Because of this, they aren't able to put together memories in their head. As their brain develops and they take on new skills, they are able to comprehend the plot of the events in their life. It is purely anecdotal, but I remember reading somewhere that we start to form memories after we learn how to speak, so not earlier than 3-4 years old. What does 3, 5 and 2, 5 refer to? I have no knowledge to impart on the matter, but I'd guess it's about capacity and the need to organize. If you imagine memory in terms of a hard drive, then growing in early childhood is equivalent to constantly overwriting less relevant things to fit it in a massive influx of new experiences. From these experiences you passively pick up tidbits of what would be equivalent to software updates for your brain, language, motor control, behavioral cues, new skills. These just happen to come bit by bit with whatever huge but largely irrelevant experiences you have no space or need for at the time. I don't know, but I do know that traumas sustained during that time period are difficult to heal. In other words, it's hard to work on something you feel, but can't visualize. Sometimes I don't remember stuff I did yesterday, but I'll remember watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit at the theater when I was in preschool. Memories are strange. We are born incomplete. Hell, bone marrow doesn't even work until a baby is 5 months old, and that's what makes our blood. The brain is one of the slowest organs to develop. That's why teenagers are so stupid. All kids have brain damage, not literally. Just in a matter of speaking. This is also why teens think they are in complete control of their car when they are driving faster and more aggressive. Hence the increased insurance rates. I remember reading a scientific article that suggested when you're born your brain does not know how to remember. Over the first few years of your life your brain is learning how to make memories. It building the architecture needed for memories and memory recall. The article went on to say we have problems recalling the memories from this first stage of our life because we never made memories then like we do after the architecture of our brain is ready. You're trying to remember something you can't actually recall most of. The parts of your brain that have to do with memory don't finish developing until later in childhood. So it's very difficult to form long-term memories before then.